halt beide. Legst du dich. What did you do in the first? 9 and 0.
That's 9 years?
Yeah, we got a chance.
But it's fun to draw here. I mean, we have the worst version ever, so we were just unlucky.
We always had, yesterday we always had like 0, 50, 0, 50.
And we have 2 maximums, then over 100.
Oh, yeah. Why are you at 3 to 2? Then we don't have insurance. Because if we lose, there's draw cards. Depends on draw cards.
We usually used to those who have to go through the
I think you can understand. I really don't want to play at 9 p.m. today.
That will be fun.
I'd rather play at 9 a.m. tomorrow. You want to go?
Yeah. like to
Or
learn
if you're
small
fine, no, it
stuff.
doesn't matter. Yeah.
I think it doesn't matter either.
Und ein bisschen weit. An den Zielleiter rückt immer noch weit.
One minute remaining in practice. Practice is over.
I don't remember a time when curling wasn't a part of my life. When I wasn't putting in the sweat and hard work to be the best that I can be. Clocking in the time, the effort to practice day in, day out. Curling is more than just a game. It's a family, a community. And when it's time to play, I know I'll be ready. Hardline, supporting hundreds of our next generation athletes.
Welcome to Vernon, British Columbia, site of the Mixed Doubles Super Series Vernon edition. My name is Jason Chang. I'll be bringing you the action from the ice to your device, and with me is Ed Scimia. We've got a great game coming up, Ed, as our feature at All International Affair. The Norwegians, Nedregotten and Skaslien, against the German team, Abbes and Harsch. Well, what do you think about this all-international matchup? Two of the top teams in Pool B going at it, trying to get a playoff spot.
Yeah, and two of our top teams in the field, I think, really. You know, the Norwegian team there with Nedregotten is, and Skaslien is undefeated so far at 4-0. So really having a great event, but only one loss for the team out of Fuessen, so it really should be a great matchup.
Yeah, and this is their last game of round-robin play. There are 3 pools, each with 6 teams, so a 5-game preliminary round. 8 teams will make it to the playoff round. That's going to be playoff Monday. It's going to be the top 8 records that go through, and then last stone draw totals will determine the seedings and any tiebreakers that are necessary. So I think if you're 4-1 or 5-0, you'll definitely be in, based on my look at the standings, and then there might be some teams tied at 3-2 fighting for a tiebreaker spot. So for Nedregotten and Skaslien, I think they're going to be in no matter what. Of course, they'd like to get the highest seed possible with a victory here against their European counterparts.
Yeah, I think that's correct. I think everyone with one loss, presuming they stay on one loss, is safe here. So very big game, especially for Abbes and Harsch.
Yeah, you saw the draws to the button, and we have the Norwegian team with last stone advantage here in the first end. So they have the opening stationary rock on the back of the forefoot. The blue stone, that's the center line guard that the Germans have. Ed, I think you've been watching a little bit more of the coverage than I have. Certainly you were covering some games yesterday, if I recall. How have you seen things so far from your end?
I watched one game yesterday, but it was a very high-level game, another international game with 2 European teams. Of course, the Lille team, which is the #1 team in the world, and the reigning silver medalists at Worlds, playing Perret and Rios out of Switzerland. It was a good game. The ice looked fair to both sides. It was hard for me I wasn't timing on stream to say, but there was a fair amount of curl, pretty consistent. You know, not super swingy, but a good amount of curl and consistent on all lines, at least in that game on that sheet.
Yeah, and I'm seeing similar things here today. The ice conditions look great. My third draw of the day. good swing, which is great for mixed doubles because all that play towards the middle of the rings, of course, unless there's a power play. Yellow's sitting in a pretty nice spot right now, top of the floor. That's why Harsch, he's trying to move this yellow stone back a little bit, sit in front of it.
Yeah, you'll see a lot of that play to control the top of the forefoot if you're relatively new to mixed doubles or really haven't thought about the game much. You could say the play is in the forefoot, and it's really in the top of the forefoot. It's really controlling that area right in front of the button, especially when you get to these teams that aren't making big misses. I mean, they are going to be putting rocks there. It's a matter of who sets up the best angles and who can play those delicate shots to keep control of the front of the forefoot, really.
Yeah, 8 ends of play here. Again, each team allowed 1 power play during regulation and extra ends if necessary. See Magnus Nedregotten, he throws the number 2, 3, and 4 stones for this couple. They're married as well, Olympic silver and bronze medalists. Trying to run the guard off here. I think they were a little concerned. The blue rock right now, the opposition blue rock, in a really nice spot. They do have shot stone on the back of the button.
Yeah, this early in the game, I imagine, just get rid of that center guard, keep the play clean, make sure you don't give up a big steal right off the bat. And as you said, they are counting. There's still scoring opportunities here for them.
Yeah, there are 3 yellow stones in the house. Shot rock, either 3rd or 4th, and also 5th shot. So yeah, there's also a blue double right now that you can play. So Germany have to be careful here in terms of their rock placements. They can't really leave doubles around for the Norwegians, or else they could give up a big number.
Absolutely.
Klaudius Harsch, he won the world mixed doubles bronze medalist with Pia-Lisa Show a couple years ago. Harsch, I think, also a world junior medalist as well. Just out of juniors for not too many years. I wonder if he's still junior eligible. I think he may have aged out.
He's definitely young, but yeah, I think he may be now playing senior tour exclusively.
I think he's trying to bump this blue stone onto the base of the yellow. Will it curl up enough for him? Not bad. Would have liked to curl up just a hair more so the bump was more on the nose.
Yeah, I mean, it's effective. I think if you can definitely I assume you can remove that blue looking at the overhead, but you might lose 2 of the yellows at the same time doing so, with the amount of weight you have to throw on that blue to get it to squirt out the side. Which is why they're looking at other angles too.
Yeah, they're seeing if they can keep some of these yellows at the back, because they'd love some of them to come back and score, at least make Germany a little bit nervous in how they play their last rock. So you definitely need to move the blue off the button, I think, whatever you do.
Yeah, even if you try to move it and at the very least release it and sit second and there's no more backing for the blue, you're in a much better position to score than now, where there obviously is no scoring area to work with.
Not sure what they decided, but they were looking at just hitting it maybe on the nose or just slightly off nose and roll in front of the other blue stone that's in the forefoot. They also looked at maybe slashing the blue rock that's in the top of the 8-foot in. Magnus Nedregotten, his final stone of the end. They have last rock, so Kristin's got one coming up after. They're going to just make a direct play on the blue stone. If we just hit it a hair high, roll in front of the other blue stone, really nice shot.
Yeah, that'll get the job done and definitely puts them in position to play for a deuce, although there is this short little run for blue here.
Yeah, if they can make this short little run, they'll probably get a force out of it. You're already sitting second and third shots. If you remove the shot stone, the one you're running in will probably stick around in the 8-foot.
Yeah, I can't imagine you'd be leaving any sort of triple there, so I suppose it's possible. But yeah, you're looking at a force here if you get rid of this, I think.
This is Emira Abbes of Germany. And I'm not sure how much mixed doubles she's played in her career. I know she's played a lot of four-person curling, played with Daniela Jentsch for many years. Certainly a good sweeper, a good thrower. Without last rock, trying to make this short little slash. Sit 3, put the pressure on the Norwegians. We're waiting for this rock to come over. It's close. Nicely done.
Yeah, that should get the job done, and doesn't make it simple to get your one either. You're drawing to the button, or are you playing a deep double here?
Yeah, it looks like you can make the double and pretty much stay right there, and should outcount the blue on that right-hand side from the overhead. Not quite the right angle for the triple, though.
Not quite, no.
Yeah, if that blue stone was maybe an inch or two further to the left, as you see it on the overhead, the triple might be there, and that could be for a 4.
Yeah, and it looked like they took a brief look at it, came to the same conclusion pretty quickly.
I think they've elected to make the double, almost a nose hit, maybe just slightly on the center line side. Don't need a ton of weight. Just throw it nice and clean. Kristin Skaslien calling the sweep on. Magnus Nedregotten. Looks fairly close. Can we get that far enough?
Ooh, maybe just enough, maybe a measure.
We're having a close look. Needed to curl just a hair more to make sure that blue went out. Any guesses, Ed?
Oh boy, let me zoom in, enhance. My guess would be, oh geez, that is very close. If I had to put money down, I think I'm going with blue. Just a touch more of the forefoot there.
All right, then I'm going to go with yellow.
All right, that's...
All right, the players do have to do their own measures here. All right, swinging around. Could it be a tie? Oh, that's rare, but it's possible. If it is a tie, it's just a blank end. And...
They run it again? They are.
Yeah, Magnus wants to see it one more time. That makes me think it might be closer to the Germans, if Magnus is the one asking for another look. I think Magnus has seen enough, maybe. So I'm going to guess it's going to be 1 for Germany, but we'll get the official score when it goes up on the board. So stay tuned after this break.
Handcrafted in Canada, Hardline's ice pad has revolutionized curling for over a decade. Engineered with top-tier precision and durability, it is backed by an unmatched 10-year warranty. Designed for curlers at all levels to sweep effortlessly with maximum efficiency, it is trusted by the world's best curlers, including Olympic and world champions. It is quite simply the best broom in the game. Hardline. Join the revolution.
Don't forget your brooms.
Yep, you got it.
Come on up. Well, what do you got? You got 1, you got 2, you got...
Just one more throw, please.
You make moments like these possible.
All right, welcome back. You see the setup, and so we know it was Germany taking 1 point because Nedregotten and Skaslien, they've got the hammer again, last stone advantage, and their yellow stone on the back of the forefoot. Really close measure there, Ed.
Yeah, and, hardly a disaster if they were going to take one anyway. The worst outcome for them The opposite of 4-player curling would have been a blank. Then they would have lost hammer for nothing. Had there been a tie.
I actually think they changed the rule. I have to check if I'm correct or not, but I believe they've changed the rule such that if it was a blank because of an equal measure, you actually got to keep the hammer.
Is that a specific rule? Now, I play, some tour mixed doubles, and I didn't even know that. If that's a rule, that's amazing.
I believe that was a recent...
Probably a good rule.
I think that was a recent addition because they thought that would be unfair if it was a tied measure to switch the hammers.
Sure, because that has nothing to do with how you attempted to play the end. It has to do with just both teams, unintentionally leaving rocks perfectly equidistant from the pin. All right,
but
interesting.
We should double check. Yeah, we should double check the rule book. I'm known to give some false facts, so and then get fact
it would make
by
sense
our viewers.
For certain. Yeah, that would be great if you could throw that into chat.
Well, it actually happened to me once. We did have a blank measure. Actually, it was actually an unmeasurable stone. This was quite a number of years ago, and the official came out and had him look at it and didn't want to make a call. And I was pretty sure it was ours, but it was not measurable, and the official didn't want to make a decision. She thought it was too close. So that was a big disadvantage for us to give up the hammer because I would have preferred to have even given up the seal to hold hammer because we were down. So I think keeping the hammer would have been even beneficial. And if I had known they were going to not make a decision, I may have just given it to the other team.
Yeah, right.
Anyways, a couple of nice shots here. This one onto the corner of that yellow stone.
Yeah, well set up for future shots here. We should have an interesting end developing.
Yeah, imagine another freeze right on top again.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Ed, I know you're out in Connecticut. How big is the mixed doubles game developing in the U.S.? Is it getting more and more popular?
It is. There are a lot more teams. It's much more. I mean, I can give you an example. This very weekend, there was an American event out in Colorado, the Colorado Cup. Colorado Curling Cup, which was a 30-team mixed doubles spiel, which was also a qualifier for the Olympic trials for mixed doubles. So the top-ranked American team that wasn't already qualified would get in. Me and my partner, who are semi-competitive but at low-level competitive, that's probably the best way to put it, had played 3 events last year. Signed up for this event. We were actually the 31st team on tour points. It was. So there's quite a competitive scene developing. We were the first team out. We didn't even get to go. So, there's definitely a developing scene, a lot more events all across the country for mixed doubles. And what I've seen this year also is an increase, at least in the Northeast where I am, of open doubles and mixed doubles just on spiels, which is great to see as well.
Oh, that's fantastic. Obviously, the Olympic Games having made a big impact on the doubles, the growth of the doubles game. But of course, a couple years ago, your team out of the U.S., Corey and Corey, won the world gold medal, I believe, in mixed doubles, right?
Yes, they did. Yeah, in the World Championships a couple of years ago. Absolutely.
Well, Klaudius was trying to get to the nose, but hitting on the outside has just pushed the yellow stone onto the top of the button. And now Magnus has a chance to hit and roll another yellow stone in, kind of stack 4 in a row. You see Magnus trying to indicate he thinks he can push that other blue up a little bit as well and push that out of the way and actually sit 4.
Yeah, you may end up touching your yellow on the top of the button on the way by, but that's perfectly fine. As you said, you'll still leave them all lined up there in the center and really have a pretty good lock on the end. There's always the runs for blue here, but if you can get those 4 stacked sitting 4, I think they'll be very happy with where they sit with 4 rocks remaining.
Yeah, I think that's why Magnus wants to bump that blue stone that's in the top of the 4. Because right now you can see half that blue, you can put some weight at it, hope you can get a few of those yellows out of there. But if you can come in off of this blue and kick that other blue in the top 4 out into the side of the 8-foot, now you've got 4 stacked behind the guard and nothing easy to run in.
Right.
I don't think this is going to curl enough for me. Through a bit way here to try to get the action. Mostly on the nose. Yellow still sitting shot and second on the top and the back of the button. Blue sitting second shot, top 4. Couple of rocks remaining for each team. So you were saying you were the
like they're
first... Sorry, Ed, I was
Go ahead.
saying you were the first team out, so you weren't playing in Colorado, but that's why we have you here, right?
Yeah, exactly. And I'll be up not quite your way up in Toronto, but in a few weeks we're playing in Montreal, actually, Mount Bruno.
Very good.
So that was really fun. It looks like they are really deciding between their two options here, which are to play off the Yellowstone just thrown or do the blue tap now. I think the only reason you wouldn't throw that is to keep it for your next shot, but it looks like that's what they're choosing to play right away.
Yeah, I agree with you. Those are the two options.
I think the yellow double might just feel a little bit too thin for them. I mean, to risk it with only 2 rocks left in the end. Especially when you have that very good blue rock to use anyway.
Yeah, you make this shot, that blue should stay right there in the top of the 4-foot.
Yeah. The only danger is that yellow can also use their own rock to come in off of.
Yeah, so...
At your blue rock, yeah.
So there's certainly merit to both calls, but they've decided to play onto the blue. Line looks good. There's the contact, the yellow springs out, blue sitting shot stone, top of the 4, yellow still second shot. And as you called, you can come off that yellow now, Magnus, and come in off the yellow, hit the blue out, and sit 2 again. So still a pretty good situation for the Norwegians.
Yeah, I think they'll be happy, whereas the German team will be happy to have probably played themselves out of any risk of a huge end. Which, you know, there certainly was risk of before that shot, with all those yellows sitting there on the 4-foot.
Yeah, absolutely. Two rocks left for Team Norway. They've got last rock. They gave up a steal of 1 in the first end. Looking to come back with a couple of their own. They've got it nicely set up right now. This is the key shot. If they're going to get the 2, they need to make this in off their yellow, onto the blue, sit shot and second shot stone. He's on it right away. It looks fairly close. Makes the contact, touches both of the blues. Yellow sitting shot in second.
Yeah, excellent result. They probably would have preferred the blue to just go right over the top and leave the backing for their second yellow shot, but still a great result for them.
Yeah, Emira can come in, hit the back yellow and roll a little bit to the center line side, sit shot stone back of the 4. She has to be a little bit careful here. The yellow could jam, and if you jam it and leave your shot stone open, maybe there's still a chance for 3. I don't know.
Yeah, that's my only concern too, and it's still the right call regardless. But if you hit it a little too thin and roll open, it'll just be an open hit for 3 because you dead jam the yellow. You're probably jamming the yellow regardless, but you know, if you can get well buried, there probably won't be a shot for 3. You overroll a little bit, then you could be in a little bit of trouble here.
Yeah, so I think you gotta err on the nose side so that the yellow goes away.
Yeah.
Klaudius sweeping hard. This rock curling pretty early, but I think he's held the line very well for her. Maybe held it a little bit too well because it is going to be on the nose or even slightly on the high side. It's right there. Shot stone right now is a blue, but it is completely open. Should be a fairly routine hit for Kristin Skaslien for 2 points.
Yeah, it looks like just the open hit for 2, and that was the pro side miss, as we were saying. You definitely don't want to jam the yellow and leave a shot for 3. They would have liked a little more curl, of course, but I think they'll take this. Especially how the end was set up earlier. You know?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think both teams will be a little bit happy. I mean, Nedregotten and Skaslien getting their multiple score back to take the lead, but it was looking a little bit uglier perhaps for the Germans, so they're probably happy getting out of this without too much damage. All right, final stone. Kristin Skaslien. Out turn, nose hit. Just a very soft control weight here. Now Magnus going to the other side, trying to get some finish here. And looks like it's going to be no problem. There's the hit, pretty much on the nose. 2 points for yellow. They take a 2-1 lead.
Imagine being able to stream every curling game from every sheet from any event, be it your Wednesday league game, bonspiel, or corporate event. Curling Stadium offers an all-inclusive streaming solution featuring high-quality cameras, ease of use, great reliability, and minimal installation. Offering your sponsors customizable ad space on your streamed curling games and being able to sell video packages to your corporate events for increased revenue. With Curling Stadium, you can stream to any device, be it your mobile phone, tablet, or computer. Push the feed to your desired platform, be it Facebook, YouTube, or any other social media. Curling Stadium is simply the way forward. Where it's commonplace in other sports to televise every game, we want to do the same. Curling is a global sport, and it's time it gets the coverage it needs. Make your curling club the next Curling Stadium.
Welcome back. Third end just underway. Skaslien, Nedregotten of Norway. They got 2 in the second end to take a 1-point lead, so we have the German team, Abbes and Harsch. They've got last stone in third end. They're playing the blue stones. First rock, of course, the usual setup. So Kristin, drawing one down on top, taps the blue stone back a little bit. We covered her last game, and she was spot on with all of her first rocks.
Such a crucial rock for setting up these ends too, making sure that you don't let the hammer team sit too early or have complete control of the forefoot, because that's what that rock in the back 4 is really threatening to do if you do not make a shot right away. And of course, at this level we watch, and most of the time they will make something effective. But even if you start getting down to slightly lower level teams, that's a huge miss if you miss it. If you leave something out in the open, or you don't cover either the top 4 or that stone. And speaking of a miss there, we went a little deep.
Yeah, it's important for the hammer team to respond, because if you don't, and now Norway gets another one into now this time, hopefully top of the forefoot, maybe just top of the button, you're going to be scrambling to remove those 2 yellow stones that are there.
Yeah, really the same thing I was saying is for the hammer team. If the non-hammer team doesn't make their first shot, if you can get complete control of the forefoot, the top and the rock behind it, it's not easy to respond in the limited number of rocks you have.
Now Magnus overdoing this a little bit as well. Going to the back. I wonder
if that line is heated up a little.
I think that rock should go back, because you can't remove
if
rocks
it's out,
there.
yeah. That's only that was only the third rock, right?
Yeah, I believe they may have just forgotten. That should have gone back. So the first opportunity to remove a stone is the hammer team's second stone. In this case, it would be this stone that Klaudius is throwing. Should be the first opportunity to remove a stone. So
I think when these mistakes are made, it's usually on rocks that aren't very relevant, which is what happened here. I think they just didn't even think about it as an important play. But you never know. Still early enough in the end where...
Yeah, and that was a blue stone, and so it could have come back to count at the back of the rings. Well, that's a nice shot, though.
That's a gorgeous shot.
Yeah, good adjustment there on the speed. All right, Magnus threw his last one through. Well, technically not through, because it's still back there illegally. But he's got to dial the weight down here and get this frozen on the top of the button. Now switching sides, trying to keep the rock straight. Line looks great. Can he get it all the way to the face? Pretty darn good.
Yeah, still well placed there.
Yeah, good
Doesn't
adjustment.
need to be locked down.
Now, I'm not sure exactly how all the countries select their teams for the Olympic Games, but I'm going to make a pretty good guess that the Norwegian couple, Skaslien and Nedregotten, are going to be tapped for as Team Norway at the Olympics in Milano Cortina 2026. They are the defending Olympic silver medalists from Beijing, bronze medalists from Korea and Chang in 2018, and they've been the best Norwegian mixed couples team for all these years.
Yeah, it seems like it would be a strong selection for the Norwegian Curling Federation to put them back in the Olympics again.
Now, the countries do still need to technically qualify through the World Championships.
Yes.
So the last couple of years before the Olympic Games, those two World Championships will accumulate points for all the nations based on finishing positions. So the higher you finish, the more points you get. And then I believe the top 8 nations in the world, including the host, will get a spot at the Olympic Games. So Italy's already in as the host. And then there, I believe, will be 2 last chance qualifiers that come out of the Olympic qualification event. So
yeah, that's traditionally how it's been done. I'd have to look at the exact specifications for qualifying for 2026, but I suspect that's still exactly right. The little rules errors at the back of the house remind me of, there was a game several years ago, and I want to say it was one of John Schuster's games playing maybe Japan or Korea, where may not have been, I may be mixing up 2 different games. In any case, the game was a rock was hit at the back of the house, went completely out of play, and then spun back into play, and nobody noticed and left it there. And because it had gone entirely over the back line, so it was out of play, and that left a member of our club convinced that was now the rule because he saw it on TV, or saw it on a stream that it happened. And there's no way they would make a mistake in such a big game. But no. Once your rock is out of play, it is out of play.
yep, absolutely. Now you saw Magnus here play a guard. He thought the most dangerous stone for the Germans is that blue stone that actually came up short. Klaudius was trying to get to the corner, I believe, of the yellow stone. But I think the Norwegians are sensing that this is a forced situation rather than a steal situation, so they were just protecting an opportunity for the Germans to get 2.
Yeah, and while I'm sure the Germans will still look at ways to build a 2 here, this really does feel like a likely force. Are they going to play the run and just try to release the yellow rocks here? It looked like they were considering that, or are they taking that away?
I'm not sure they're going to make a play into the middle. I'm almost thinking the best play is to peel off that guard, let the Norwegians play one more guard, but that's not the call they're making. They're playing a shot from the other side, on the outturn side, or the counterclockwise side. So where are they going with this?
Oh, good question. They may be putting something in between those 2 yellows. They may have been worried about that, although I'm not sure.
Are they just guarding
to remove that?
I'm not really sure.
I don't think the yellow would ever remove that blue anyway, but maybe that was the only thing they're worried about, and they're more or less conceding the fact that they're getting 1 here as well.
Yeah, I agree with you. I'm not seeing much angles. Both teams look like they're resigned to 1 blue here.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. I feel like if I were Klaudius, I may have peeled off the guard and let Kristin play up another guard. If he misses the guard, he might have that blue raise.
I like that idea. At least make them make the shot. They are likely to be throwing that guard again. As you said, there's not much danger in the position for you. Maybe they miss. Maybe you have an opportunity. Maybe you certainly aren't going to make the position any worse. You certainly aren't going to put a steal into play by peeling that guard.
So Kristin is playing 1 more guard. I'm not sure it's going to really guard any particular shot that the other team's going to play. Like, just lobbing 1 there for the practice almost.
Yeah, just in case there's some way for you to come around and tap our yellow and stay, which looks impossible. Might as well guard it, because there's nothing else to guard. This, I imagine, is just going to be a learn the ice shot.
Yeah, you might want to learn that inside-out draw, because when you have a power play situation, you are going around a corner guard, and you never really play that shot until it is the power play. So, might be that kind of scenario. All right, both teams getting a little bit of practice. We'll give you 100%, 4-4 on both those shots. It is a 1 point for German team. Abbes and Harsch, they tie the game 2-2 after 3.
I don't remember a time when curling wasn't a part of my life. When I wasn't putting in the sweat and hard work to be the best that I can be. Clocking in the time, the effort to practice day in, day out. Curling is more than just a game. It's a family, a community. And when it's time to play, I know I'll be ready. Hardline, supporting hundreds of our next generation athletes.
Oh yeah. Welcome back to Vernon, British Columbia. If you're just joining us, my name is Chang. With me at Scimia, bringing you the action from the Ice Your Device 4th end underway. Skaslien, Nedregotten 2, Abbes, Harsch 2, and the Norwegians, they're throwing the yellow stones. They've got last rock here in the 4th. Interesting last couple of rocks, Ed, in the last end. Really, both teams resigning themselves to a force.
Yeah, fairly well played game so far. I mean, good game, very tightly played. We haven't had outside of briefly in the second end, looked like there was an opportunity perhaps for a big end from our Norwegian team here, but that was shot down with some good defense. And, you know, a couple early misses last time, but then that locked-on rock right on the button pretty much killed all the play in the end. As soon as Yellow was able to, you know, just put a rock in front of it, there really wasn't much play there. We kind of knew a force was coming with maybe 4 rocks left in the end.
Yeah, we called that one, I think.
Yeah.
Emira Abbes taps that yellow stone back with her first rock and just didn't quite get to the nose. Maybe had a little bit more weight than she needed. So this is now a good opportunity for Team Norway again to try to set up 2 points, because there's no blue stone that's frozen onto the yellow. They kicked that one back, but Kristin Skaslien, uncharacteristic miss for her. Just light, crashes into the guard. Now opportunity for Germany to tuck another one behind cover and sit shot in second.
Yeah, and that's how quickly these mixed doubles ends can swing. One miss early, and the other team, if they can put one, you know, top 4, can really lock down the scoring area.
Yeah, if you see this one getting to the top of the 4, top of the button, I'm going to predict that Team Norway are going to try to clear the guards off and open things up.
Yeah, that would make sense. I agree.
Let's see where this lands. Klaudius sweeping his own stone. Looks fairly happy with it. Wants it to stop top 4. Nibbles the top of the button, really nice.
Yeah, that'll do, and I think you're right. You're going to see the appeal of some sort, whether it's an attempt to get rid of both, or I saw them sort of motioning with their brooms that maybe they want to run the yellow. I mean, I'd want to get rid of the blue on the center line, though. That was me.
Yeah, I think for sure you want to hit the blue on the center line, and then whether you want to drive it into the yellow off the side and make the double peel, that's a good option. That blue might come squirting back into the house and catch another blue on the way by, or you run the blue into the one that's in the top of the 4 and try to get the triple that way. Let's see. He's going to try the outside way off the other yellow guard, spills them all away. The rocks go flying onto the other sheet, almost disturbing the situation on the other side. I hope Hope that Emira just jumped over there to try to rescue the situation.
Yeah.
They're laughing a
Still
little bit
gotten the
about
rock back. There it goes. Okay.
Yeah, this is, of course, one of the things that can happen in club play. Most clubs here in Canada don't have the side bumpers. If you're at the World Championships, of course, nice cushy bumpers will prevent that from happening.
Rare to see in the U.S. too. I played in there's a very fun bonspiel in the Minnesota Twin Cities area, the Big Spiel, which has 96 teams every year around New Year's, and some very strong national level curlers play in it, usually not on teams of 4, but with friends and clubmates and such. And there was definitely a situation between 2 national level curlers where one threw a big weight peel and hit some rocks on the next sheet, and that person wasn't very happy. So it does happen.
Yeah, it can be a very complex situation if you do disturb the other sheet, especially in doubles where all the rocks are so close together, and you don't want an argument of who was shot rock or not, right? If you're trying to replace all the stones. I think the rule book does give a provision where you can replay the entire end if you can't agree, if you have an outside force disturbing your house. So, but
much like in if an outside force interrupts your shot, it can be rethrown. Yeah, I would imagine you have to in mixed doubles because even the slightest change in angles can be so important in a lot of houses.
Absolutely.
And if I'm trying to argue whether, my stone is 13 16ths or 7/8 on top of your rock, I think we have a problem.
So some good acrobatics there by Emira Abbes to catch that stone before it hit anything, so well done. Nice guard there by Klaudius. Magnus now probably peeling this off again. He was moving less stones this time, so threw a little bit less weight. The one previous, he was throwing with some heat.
And we were in a good position to defend the next sheet as well, with a little less weight to worry about, as you said.
Well, Germany's still sitting shot in the second shot stone here. I imagine one more guard at least.
Yeah, you might as well on your last, as you're kind of alluding to, you might throw something else to take away the sort of the draw down to the back blue, which probably counts for 1. But yeah, you want a good center guard here. Protect that rock on the top of the button.
Well done once again. Now you see Magnus indicating that if we peel again, you might face something even more difficult to get into the button. So do you need to go in now, make a play on that back stone, try to sit shot stone, make Germany make a play on your rock?
Yeah, that might be the play, because you may just be left hoping there's a triple for 1, or for 2, but whatever. You might be hoping there's a triple if you just peeled the guard here. They could throw something in front of the one on the back 4 foot there, and also probably in the top 4 foot somewhere. You have to figure out the angles, but could make it almost impossible, or perhaps literally impossible, for Norway to score here if you were to just peel the guard. So I like this going in right away.
Yeah, timing is everything in curling, and it's even more important in doubles because you only throw 5 stones. At least in 4-person curling, you got 8 stones to work with, so you can maybe delay a little bit longer, especially if you've got a great hitter on your team who can bail you out of trouble. But in the doubles game, you have to pick your moments very carefully, and I think this is a wise call, as you said. Magnus Nedregotten, his last stone of this end. They've got last stone advantage, trying to get slightly to the inside and get shot stone here. I think they've done it. They are shot stone. It is wide open.
Yeah, it certainly looks like it's 1, but I think it is. Yeah, it is wide open, and you might even be able to get rid of both blues, or both yellows, excuse me, just to make sure you can't give up more than 1 here.
Yeah, you do have to be careful because if you just hit and roll a little bit, then there will be a double for 2. So I think you either have to get rid of both yellows or make sure you roll this a little bit farther. But that's a very finicky roll. If you roll too far, you're only sitting 1, and maybe you can play a quiet wait shot to tap that blue out.
Yeah. I think it's the double makes more sense, and if you're gonna just barely miss the double, it might even be. Well, that would be more than just barely missing it. Never mind. I was gonna say you might even, if you get just to the inside of the yellow, you probably don't get. If you get just over the face, you get just to the low side of the yellow, you probably don't need a double, but that's way off the shot you're trying to throw. So
you're flirting with hitting your own blue if you do that.
Exactly.
So
Yeah, that would be, if they were down by a few points and really had to set up a multiple steal here.
Yeah, but if they make the double, you've got the force, so...
Yeah, absolutely. Looks
close. There they go. Doesn't matter if it doesn't matter if you roll the shooter out, as we were talking about. There's no incentive to blank in mixed doubles. This would be, if they actually blanked it, it would be a flip of the hammers. But probably just going to draw for 1. You could potentially play an out-turn tap with kind of back 8 weight. You've seen the curl here, so you can definitely tap it if you feel more comfortable.
Yeah, neither one an easy shot, but both on this ice probably makeable, as you're saying. So it's your choice of which precise shot you want to go for.
So Kristin Skaslien with the final stone, being forced here, but this time the force requires a very difficult shot to score. Almost needs to grab a piece of the pin here to get shot stone. Magnus Nedregotten guiding it in, now switching to the curl side, now the straight side. It's got to catch most of the button. Looking pretty good. Will it slide too far? Just a bit too far.
I think he just wanted to touch a piece of the blue to slow it down, but didn't quite get it there.
Yeah, so it is a steal of 1 for the German team. They take the lead 3-2 halfway through the game.
Handcrafted in Canada, Hardline's ice pad has revolutionized curling for over a decade. Engineered with top-tier precision and durability, it is backed by an unmatched 10-year warranty. Designed for curlers at all levels to sweep effortlessly with maximum efficiency, it is trusted by the world's best curlers, including Olympic and world champions. It is quite simply the best broom in the game. Hardline. Join the revolution.
Four ends in the books. It's a tight game, 3-2. The Germans, Abbes and Harsch, leading the Norwegian team of Magnus Nedregotten and Kristin Skaslien. Skaslien and Nedregotten, they keep the hammer. Last stone advantage in the 5th end. I'm having a quick look at the standings, Ed, and we were talking about, the 5-0 teams, they're guaranteed a spot into the quarterfinal. Calvi and Lille at 5-0 already. And the teams that finish 4-1, they're pretty much locked up as well. So Pere and Rios, 4-1. They're from Pool A. Skaslien and Nedregotten, even if they lose, they'll be 4-1. So they pretty much locked themselves up into the quarterfinals, as well as Matsumara and Tanida from Japan, also on Pool B. For Abbes and Harsch, they're sitting at 3-1, so they would like to get a win to guarantee themselves a spot in the quarterfinals. If they lose, they'll be at 3-2, and then we're going to see what the tiebreaker situation might look like. Because my look at the standings is if you're at 3-2, you're probably in some sort of a tiebreaker situation, and the last stone draws are going to come into effect. There will be a tiebreaker game later tonight, if necessary. I'm guessing it's highly likely based on the standings I'm looking at.
Yeah, it looks like if the pools play out the way they look like they are, you might have 3 teams for 2 spots, something like that. Depending on exactly how these last few games shake up, of course.
And in Pool C, Tally Gill and Dean Hewitt from Australia, they're 4-0, so they're going to be in the playoffs. I think really the key match out of Pool C that's happening right now may be that Japan game, Tori Koana and Go Aoki, they're 3-1 against McGillivray and Middleton, the local team here from Vernon. They're also at 3-1. So winner will go to 4-1 and get a spot in the quarterfinals. The loser will go to 3-2 and have a look at that tiebreaker situation.
I can tell you that Koana and Aoki are up 7-1 after 4 in that game, so they are looking very strong to get the win. And as you said, that is a critical game, given what the records are in all 3 pools right now.
And my sources tell me that should there be tiebreakers, it looks like Cotter and Cotter at 3-2 of Pool A will have one of the tiebreaker spots because of their really strong draw to the button score. So that's what my sources tell me. But all eyes on this game right now. Tight matchup. First half of the game, what did you think? It was really well played.
Yeah, really tightly played. Not a lot of mistakes. There was the one end where maybe that one line had sped up a little bit, and it took the teams a rock or two to adjust. Other than that, we've been seeing a lot of tight play, around the forefoot, as you come to expect in mixed doubles, especially when you have 2 strong teams making precise draws, and leaving us with a lot of interesting play to look at, but not a lot of scoring on the scoreboard.
Yeah, that means both teams have matched each other shot for shot, more or less, in that 4-foot zone. No team having a clear advantage, other than that one end where Skaslien and Nedregotten did get their 2 points. That was the second end.
Yeah, that was the one, our only multiple so far, and the one end where there really was potential for even more at one point.
Well, Magnus wanted to... Sorry about that, Ed. Magnus wanted to raise the yellow into the blue and push the blue back. He was a little bit high, it glanced off the blue, and now I think a really good opportunity for Germany to maybe hit and roll on top of their own stone.
Yeah, they were looking at the straight draw, which is a little easier to execute, of course, but given the fact that there are 3 yellow stones in the house and yellow has hammer, I'd be inclined to play the hit and roll too. Even if you don't make it perfect, you are accomplishing 2 things at once, right? Reducing the risk and maybe putting a little bit more of a lock on your control of the button there.
Yeah, I agree. You can hit off either stone, really. I guess the one on the left, from the thrower's perspective, it's a little bit tighter to that guard, or that block that's in the top 12, top 8. You can play this wider one. You might need to throw a little bit more weight, but you'll have a natural catcher on the other side.
Yeah, I think that's what they were looking at, and why I think that's what they've chosen to throw, at least based on the body language.
Yeah, based on where Emira is setting herself up on the straight side. Looks like it'll be that counterclockwise for the righty out turn. Klaudius Harsch looking for this in-off. Maybe it's going to be a double, whatever the case may be. Wants to hit this yellow one and roll in, but it looks like it's just going to be more like a nose. Yeah, you have to throw some heat to get that action. It's just fairly flat to roll across.
Yeah, always a little tricky when you have to throw more weight, because your sweeper does not have as much influence on the rock, of course. So if you're you're a little tight, or in that case, just a little wide, and gonna catch the entirety of the rock, you're gonna nose. And not a disaster, but it does let the Norwegian team back in the end here if they can make a nice shot.
I think just the freeze onto that blue stone will do just fine here.
Yeah, I'd agree. I don't see what else you could play a couple other things, but I think that's definitely the best call here. Absolutely.
There's blue-blue double. but I think that's the shot that you'll save later in the end if you really need it.
I agree. I think you want to leave that there to use later. And you can be a little heavy on this and tap if you are, although I really do like the freeze too at this point in the end.
Yeah, Magnus trying to move this rock over. Bumps it back, but rolls off of it, so still a good situation for Germany. Shot stone, opportunity to get another one onto the top of the button.
Yeah, and you don't have to play this like a hit, you can. But you can even just play it as like a heavy draw, knowing you have the backing and roll off the yellow if you want. That way you're pushing the yellow back to the back of the forefoot too.
Yeah, exactly.
It kind of looks like the line they're calling, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I think you just have to somewhat commit to which shot you're trying to play, because sometimes if you up the weight a little bit for the tap, but you actually have the line for the draw instead, you might miss it on the wide side. So you do have to play the weight for the line that you've put the broom down for.
Absolutely.
Good looking shot here. Coming in nicely, just touches that yellow, scoots onto the top of the pin. Very nice.
Yeah, very nice rock. You can now play, as they're looking at what I'm about to say, is you can now, the way they angled, you can play something on that top blue and release the back blue, which then might leave yellow sitting rocks 2 through 5, which is a little scary for blue. But it's not very simple with your last 2 rocks to get rid of both blues. Still, I like the idea. Put some pressure on here. You're not going to get rid of both of them in one shot anyway. Let's remove one blue, leave the other one without backing, and
yeah, I think you gotta just push that blue one far enough into the 8-foot so that it's not gonna still act as backing.
Right.
Push it fully into the 8.
Yeah, you have to imagine that you may hit these blues both times at the same angle, so that you can't leave it where it would catch the blue on the top of the button now and still have it out count a couple of your rocks. Absolutely.
So he's gonna want to come pretty tight to this center guard here. Just with that extra weight, it's not going to curl as much, so you've got to get as tight as possible. He's pretty tight by. Looks pretty good. Magnus Nedregotten pushes the blue stone. Didn't quite it as far back as maybe he'd want, but not bad.
No, in the angle that's left, you might not, depending on how you hit your yellow, you might be able to get that blue out still. As we see the replay here, yeah.
Magnus trying to carve this rock over. He did a pretty good job.
Yeah, especially given that you're carving towards a rock you want to get by real tight, which can be scary sometimes. But they had it under complete control the whole way. They knew how much room they had, how much curl they're going to have, and had room to give it a little more. Ended up with a nice shot.
Yeah, yellow is sitting 2nd, 3rd, and 4th right now, and you could see Klaudius is concerned about that blue stone that's in the side of the 12-foot from the overhead. That'd be like about the 10 o'clock or 11 o'clock position, because Kristin could come in off of that and hit the yellow on a sideways angle, pushing that blue out. That's the danger of putting this guard. You will leave Kristin possibly that in off.
Yeah, I wonder if they're you look at the angles, and if you hit the yellow a little more head on, that blue at the top of the button goes a little more sideways. And either way, though, it could happen either way. It's hard to guard everything here. Just coming off the outside blue, you can hit it at whatever angle you need to get that blue to go out sideways. And that blue going out sideways may very well clip the one, and probably would clip the one in the back 4 as well. Which means you could be looking at a very big end, as much as a 5 for yellow if you don't do something here, which I don't know if a straight guard gets it done in that case, because you're probably leaving something for a huge end.
Yeah, I agree
They
with
can
you.
see the angles a little better than us, though. So.
It does look hard to guard everything here. I mean, I don't think you can put a guard on the right-hand side as we see it from the throw angle to guard both the direct play yellow onto blue or the in-off blue onto yellow onto blue. I just don't think you can get a guard in a spot that can guard both of those shots. So what if they decided? They decided to go into the intern side. Now, are they trying to squeeze a blue stone?
I think they're trying to come in off that yellow.
In off the yellow? Yep. They were motioning at that earlier. They need to get pretty tight to this top blue. Or just removing it?
Ooh.
Is that good or not? I'm not sure.
I think it certainly leaves yellow with a very makeable shot for 3 at a minimum. Whether you can get that blue out, because your yellow may now be a catcher for that blue as well. Your yellow that's currently 5th shot. I believe
Yes.
5th shot. Looks like it's 5th shot, yeah. Depending on the angle you hit at.
Yeah, I'm curious if that blue jams onto yellow, whether the blue will be 3rd shot or 4th shot, because then that blue and the yellow that's on the back of the 4, splitting the center line, will be very close.
Yeah, and it probably depends. Well, it would depend, obviously, if you dead jam it or if you can get just a tiny bit of a roll down in the house, maybe.
It's definitely an opportunity for 2, maybe more for Skaslien and Nedregotten. Down to the 3, 5th end, last stone for Kristin Skaslien. Great opportunity here to put a couple points or more on the board. Here we go, looking to just make a direct play on the yellow stone. Get the blue to go out the side, and then hope it doesn't jam. Maybe score a big N. It does dead jam. It will be 2 for sure. It looks like from the overhead, maybe 3.
Yeah, I think they'll take a closer... No, they don't even take a closer look, so I guess that was just 3.
Yeah, 3 points, we believe, for Team Norway. They're going to be up 5-3 as we head to the break.
Handcrafted in Canada, Hardline's Ice Pad has revolutionized curling for over a decade. Engineered with top-tier precision and durability, it is backed by an unmatched 10-year warranty. Designed for curlers at all levels to sweep effortlessly with maximum efficiency, it is trusted by the world's best curlers, including Olympic and world champions. It is quite simply the best brew in the game. Hardline. Join the revolution.
What do you got? You got 1, you got 2, you got...
Just one more throw, please.
You make moments like these possible.
Maybe? All right, we're back. 6th end. Big 3 points for Skaslien and Nedregotten. They take the lead 5-3 and now trailing by 2. Team Germany, they're going to use their power play.
Yeah, heading into that last end, I was thinking that this game could come down to who better utilizes their power play, though that 3 certainly changed the situation a little bit here with our German team here needing to make up a little bit of ground.
Yeah, certainly opportunity to score multiple points, or it's easier to score multiple points when you've got power play. You've moved the play off of the center, you'll always have a shot to the middle to score in theory. And you've already got one buried around a corner, which is a great situation when you have the hammer. So good shot maybe here for Kristin Skaslien. Maybe just a little bit heavy. Didn't want to bounce off is now the German team can come and freeze onto that yellow stone. And their blue stone is still mostly buried.
Yeah, they can either dead freeze or, you know, they're not even worried if they push it slightly as long as they get to move. Yeah, just a little heavy. Not by much, but enough that it popped open and makes it a rock they can play with for sure.
This is always a tricky situation for mixed doubles teams because you've always been playing towards the middle through the first 2/3 of the game, and all of a sudden you're playing inside out, haven't seen any rocks go that way. You're wondering about the speed, you're wondering about the curl. And in this format here, you don't get as much practice time before the game, unlike a World Championship. In a World Championships, you'll get a 7-minute practice. You can play a few shots inside out to get a sense of the curl, but here, with the draw to the button, you only get a few rocks to throw up and down, and so you're throwing all your rocks towards the middle to try to get the best draw to the button score so you can get last rock, and of course, in case of tiebreakers.
Sure, absolutely. And I think we talked about one end, it may have been the third end, where there was a clear force early on. We saw what amounted to a couple practice draws to the wings because there wasn't much else to do in the end, and at least maybe that gave some indication to the players of how it's playing. But even then, that was a few ends ago, and they haven't been throwing those rocks because you rarely do in mixed doubles. So the ice very well may have changed since then anyway.
Yeah, so Magnus can't hit this rock out. So that's why he's just sweeping it to the back of the 12, but not too hard.
The very careful sweep there. A very nice shot, you know, and leaving that rock back there without moving it. That's good.
Yeah, now the two blue stones in the rings now both completely open, or pretty much completely open on the one on the right. So you can always hit those if you're starting to feel threatened by too many blue stones in the rings. Germany, they've got to maneuver these yellow stones back a little bit. Try to use that corner guard still, generate their multiple score.
Yeah, and as you were saying, I mean, everything's away from the center. There still is potential for a multiple here. And of course, no real danger of a steal. So still plenty to play for our German team here with the blue rocks.
Pretty good looking shot. Hits it on the nose, pushes one yellow out, sits in front of the other yellow. That's a nice shot. Yellow is shot stone, it is buried, but you can definitely play a blue onto yellow raise. So Norway, they have to be very careful in this situation.
Yeah, and this is where the pressure of the power play on the team that doesn't have hammer comes in mixed doubles, because they're looking at shots you would never be calling when you're trying to force or play defense in a 4-player game, or at least you would be very upset if that's the situation you got yourself into. But this is very common in these power play ends where we have to find somewhere to draw so we can sit two that can't be doubles. Like, we really don't have a good hit. We don't really, love where our rock is.
And Magnus is looking at this kind of slash double.
You could play that if you can get rid of two. If you get rid of two safely, you're taking away the big end for sure.
And for Team Norway, they'd be pretty satisfied if they held the German team to 2 points or less here. That'll give them a power play left in the last two ends. Certainly a bit of an advantage going into the last two in a tied game if they could hold the German to 2. I know Kristin was looking at just splitting the rings with the draw, but that's I expect Magnus. I expect Magnus to make it, but you're right. It's so scary, right?
Yeah, and this early in the end, especially, if you miss it and they play that little bump on their blue into your yellow, and they're sitting 4, and I would tend to agree with the call they made here.
Playing some heat. There's the contact. Touch the yellow one as well. Got all the stones moving outward. The two blues that stick around. Just caught it a bit too thick.
Yeah. The blues are open, as we were saying before, so gives you a chance to bail out to a certain extent. Not what they were looking for, of course, because now
Three's definitely in play now.
German team, yeah, looking at a 3 for sure. If they can make their shots well and get something great back from the Norwegians.
So Klaudius trying to go around the corner guard. Really important here to get this into the rings. Number one, he's going to be on the guard. Now they're working hard to try to get it to the top of the 12. They won't get it there. It is close enough to split in. So Nedregotten and Skaslien, they got to be careful right now. They got to put rocks into the rings, or else that split could be there later on.
Yeah, as you said, definitely close enough to split. Unfortunately, came out towards the center line, so it's going to be used against them here. But relatively short to run because it's so close to the rings too. So even if this is made well, yeah, they can use their own rock again to try to remove anything that gets buried here.
Yeah, they had a quick look at that takeout on the wide blue stone, but they've elected to draw. They can even come right to the back blue. I think they would still be shot stone if they froze to the back blue. But it looks like
I think that's right.
Just a straight draw, try to get it about T-line. Mostly buried. You can see a piece for sure.
Yeah, and I wonder, okay, they are looking at, yeah, I was wondering which option they'd play for here because they're both offer you some advantages, right? Like it's a little harder. You probably won't be able to remove the yellow rock entirely and keep yours, so you're probably just pushing the yellow back a bit. I could be wrong. Maybe they do see enough. It's our view looks like it's only a sliver, but it may be a little more than that.
Yeah, I would think that you would only play this shot if you think you can get rid of it and you can sit 1, 2, 3 again. Because if you don't sit 1, 2, 3, it doesn't give you a whole lot of benefit. You'll be sitting shot rock, but
they hit the outside one, and
yeah. So I think you got to play it to try to sit 1, 2, 3 after the situation.
And the other option, which they probably consider, is if this over curls, you can just split your rocks onto the rings.
And that's going to be what happens. So if you play that nice weight, hack weight, you're going to get the split in exactly what happened there. So now, Nedregotten and Skaslien, they have to be careful. Placement of this stone is really important. They're going to freeze or just put a rock in front of the other blue stone, level with their own yellow probably.
Yeah, make this good, it's a force. You make it not so good, you risk giving up 5. So, critical rock, to say the least. And I think either parallel or as long as it's even slightly to the inside of the blue, if you're down to the blue, you're fine as well.
Yeah, on the inside corner, as long as you don't bounce it.
Yes, yeah, can't bounce it.
All right, Kristin Skaslien, really important shot here. Blue sitting 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th. Kristin Skaslien looking to prevent a double for a big score. Magnus really working hard. This is going to come up a little bit short, and it's... Well, I'm not sure who's 4th shot right now, but it is definitely open.
It's open for 3 or 4, for sure.
Yeah,
it's definitely 3. Hard for us to say who's 4th. I think he might have gotten it there, but it's just so hard to say with the overhead when you're talking about the rocks at the top and bottom of the house.
Yeah, there's going to be a little bit of distortion of the camera for sure as you get further away from the middle, but definitely an open hit for 3. You'll get the 3, I think, even if you jam it, perhaps.
It would be close, right? Because your 3rd rock is only in by half a rock.
Well, they'll try to get it through clean, and then we'll have a closer look at the other stone. All right, right, that mistake is possibly going to cost this Norwegian team the lead here. Final stone for Emira. Abbes of Germany looking for a hit. Stick around. Line looks pretty good right now. Will it stick around? It's rolling to the side. Oh, catch on the other blue. So it is 3 for sure. And they quickly kick the back one away. So am I going to guess that's Magnus kicking it? So it must be 4, I believe. So possibly 4.
I guess so, yeah, if he's conceding it, yeah.
So we'll confirm when we come back, but definitely the German team, they've come back and stormed into the lead.
Imagine being able to stream every curling game from every sheet from any event, be it your Wednesday league game, bonspiel, or corporate event. Curling Stadium offers an all-inclusive streaming solution featuring high-quality cameras, ease of use, great reliability, and minimal installation. Offering your sponsors customizable ad space on your streamed curling games and being able to sell video packages to your corporate events for increased revenue. With Curling Stadium, you can stream to any device, be it your mobile phone, tablet, or computer. Push the feed to your desired platform, be it Facebook, YouTube, or any other social media. Curling Stadium is simply the way forward. Where it's commonplace in other sports to televise every game, we want to do the same. Curling is a global sport, and it's time it gets the coverage it needs. Make your curling club the next Curling Stadium.
Upgrade our streamer.
Welcome back. 4 points on the board for the German team. They storm into 7-5 lead after 6 ends of play, and now being in the down position, Team Norway, they're using their power play, using the left-hand side of the sheet from the thrower perspective, and a really nice shot there from Emira, Abbes, drawing down to that yellow stone, and that was just a big mistake from Kristin Skaslien on her last stone. Just needed to get it into the 8 foot to really prevent a big end, or at least make it a very difficult double to score a big end, but just a little bit light. And we were talking during the break and about how, you know, you don't play the inside-out shot a lot. They were playing the inside-out on the other side of the sheet. Then Kristin had to switch sides, maybe confused her a little bit.
Yeah, you have to assume that, given that that side of the ice had not been played at all on the inside-outs, that it was there was a little bit of guesswork going on there. Camp a little light. Probably the ice was a little slower than she expected as well, and yeah, we said it before the shot. If you didn't make it good, you were putting a big number in play, and thankfully they were able to get it far enough to outcount 1, but that's about all they got out of that.
Yeah, the Norwegian team deciding to split the rings here. They're going to sit 2, and again, you can't remove stones yet, so Klaudius will try to draw down to that rock in the back, 8 o'clock position from the overhead. Sit on the corner, hit shot stone. Hard to tell who's second shot right now. I think it might be yellow actually, but that's my guess.
Yeah, I was wondering if it's not blue, but it is very close.
Klaudius comes down, bumps it a little bit. Wouldn't like to be just right on the corner.
Yeah, I imagine the Norwegians went to the other side because of the location of the first blue stone. Made it really hard to play under the guard again effectively. It is a little less aggressive than, you know, just trying to pile them under the guard, but they might have felt this was their better path to setting up an end.
Yeah, I agree with you. Magnus again trying to play down to that blue stone. Want to stay right on the nose if you can. Nice shot.
Very nice. That 1 or 2 inches of bumping might have been enough for them to make a play at it, though, because it looks like that's what they're going for here.
Yeah, certainly with the lead right now, if you can eliminate rocks, that's a good thing. Try to limit your damage to 2 points if you can, or less, and then have a tie game coming home with last stone advantage.
Yeah, and that yellow being almost frozen is the most dangerous rock right now.
And you might get the back yellow as well if you get the drag here. Just
almost
touches.
didn't move it.
Yeah, almost cut it as thin as he could have. So I'm not sure he could have done much better. But he does move
No,
that
I mean,
stone out.
Yeah, if the rocks had been essentially frozen, you might have gotten more drag there. But in that case, you might not have got the first one out. Although as thin and hard as he hit it, he may have. Yeah, did the job for sure.
Yeah, now that yellow stone is all the way in the 12 foot, so that blue stone is going to be out counting that one.
Blue stone, at least for now, is not going anywhere, so it's doing a good job of keeping the end under control.
Now, Magnus is splitting the rings again, which leads me to believe that they believe it is yellow being shot. I can't imagine them going open if yellow were not shot rock behind that corner guard.
Yeah, I'm inclined to agree with that.
Glad we're on the same page. Nice shot there as well. Hits it fairly frozen.
Yeah, not counting. Neither of those yellow rocks are counting, but now you're at risk of, even if it takes something like a run, your blue goes, then yellow is going to score a bunch.
So again, big weight here.
They're going after these two, yep.
Yeah, trying to hit the outside of the rock this time. Trying to get both yellows to spill out. And a lot of spring in that yellow stone. Goes out really easily. Nice shot, Klaudius Harsch.
Yeah, the shot that had to be made, not an easy one, as you saw how far that rock had to travel sideways to get out of the house, but made it without too much difficulty in the end. Very nice rock. And as you said, I think they're playing again to the open side, assuming that this is a play for two.
Yeah, that's what we're led to believe. And Magnus going to fetch a rock from the other sheet. Yeah, they lost the rock to the other sheet in the last end. Didn't do any damage, but I do remember one rock scooting over to that other sheet. So
yeah.
Yep, same shot. Flip the rings again. Kristin coming out to help Magnus. They want to get this a little bit further back. That'll do. Make sure there's no double on the yellows.
Yeah, both sides might be content on their last two rocks here. Just hit, let them hit back and take their two, if that's what it is, and go to the eighth tied with hammer.
Yeah, the Germans would be tied with hammer in that situation, and all right, safely hits it out, rolls away. So now Magnus having another look over there, but I think they're pretty sure.
Yeah, and I think it maybe doesn't matter at this point. I don't know what you could do. If that blue's one, I don't know how you play for two anyway, because you'd have to come from the outside. You wouldn't be able to throw much weight. I don't know that you'd be able to move it far enough.
All right, so Kristin Skaslien, she's more or less taking the same draw path that Magnus took. So they've seen this 3 times now. That's why they're drawing towards the 8 foot rather than the button, because they know the speed. Magnus seems pretty happy. Gonna let Kristin do a little bit of work. It's not the way to treat your wife.
Right down to the tee line. Very nice.
Great shot. So, yeah, Magnus is just asking Klaudius to have a look because Magnus is calling 2 points, I'm sure. but Claudius maybe is going to grab the measure one more time here.
Yeah, I can't blame him on this one. It's pretty close. It's an important point.
Yeah, been a lot of close rocks this game.
Yeah.
All right. This
yeah,
is,
a few kicked away that we weren't expecting, and now a measure.
Does look close, but I have to believe Magnus knew. Or Magnus hopefully got it correct that they're sitting shot stone.
Right. Yeah, it's not so much the last shot, or even the last couple shots, but earlier in the end, I think you'd play it a different way.
So I'm going to assume Norway has tied up the game. Yep, the score goes up. It is going to be 7-7 after 7, and we're going to have a tie game playing the last end.
I don't remember a time when curling wasn't a part of my life. When I wasn't putting in the sweat and hard work to be the best that I can be. Clocking in the time, the effort to practice day in, day out. Curling is more than just a game. It's a family, a community. And when it's time to play, I know I'll be ready. Hardline, supporting hundreds of our next generation athletes.
Be in 6-7. How's
All right, we're back. We're back in the 8th end, and during the break, Ed and I were trying to figure out the tiebreaker situation, counting up how many teams have already qualified and how many could be in a tiebreak situation. But it is 7-7 here, so we're going to the 8th end, all tied up. The German team, they have last rock, so they've got the advantage. They're at 3-1 in the record, so they need a win to get to 4-1. 4-1 will guarantee you a spot in the 9 a.m. quarterfinal tomorrow. If the Germans lose, they'll be at 3-2, and that's what we're trying to work out, whether there will be a tiebreaker or not, and who might be in it.
Yeah, I believe so. I think if the Norwegian team here came back and won, knocked the Germans to 3-2. We would likely have 3 teams at 3-2, pending a couple of the other, or one of the other results at least, which would mean one team would get in automatically, and then the other 2 would play for the 8th spot. If they go to 4-1, then we just have an extra 4-1 team, and we would only have 2 3-2 teams, and those 2 would be playing for 1 spot.
Right, and I think I reported earlier, my sources tell me that Cotter and Cotter are pretty much guaranteed a spot in that tiebreaker because of their superior draw to the button. They're at 3-2 right now, so. All right, we've got blue sitting shot stone. That's the German team. Magnus Nedregotten, he wants to come down, sit on the face of that blue stone. They need a steal here, but for the Norwegians, not too much pressure. They've already got a spot in the quarterfinals, just playing for a win to get the most favorable seeding. Taps it back. Yellow sits shot stone again. You might see the German now take off the guard.
Yes, this is gonna look a lot like a traditional, 4-player team game. In the sense that you're only playing for 1, of course, so get rid of the guards, keep it open, make sure you have a shot at the end for your point. That's the plan anyway. Doesn't always work out that way, but...
Yeah, if you clear the guard, you still got the whole button right now open. Of course, the Norwegians, they're going to try to take away the button later on in the end if they can. They'll probably guard for the next couple of stones. Trying to go straight back now. Unfortunately, they leave the guard there. I'm thinking
Yeah,
of
that
their
was the
own-
worst possible outcome.
Yeah, you definitely didn't want to leave your own stone there, and now I think the Norwegians are going to double guard the situation, either coming behind the blue or on top of the blue.
They were open to play the run onto the back yellow, at which you might leave your blue rock as a guard in that case, but at least gotten rid of the rock off the top of the 4-foot. Unfortunately, just over the top of that rock there in the top 4, and leaving a perfect guard on it. Very unfortunate.
So I think they're trying to come tighter than the blue stone, try to loop it around.
That's what it looked like, yeah.
As a tight guard, or maybe even at the top of the 12. Yeah, really nice shot there.
Yeah, that makes sense. As later in the end, that'll be an effective guard for the only rock that matters, which is the one touching the top of the button right now. So I wouldn't be shocked if we see another attempt at a run here, just to try to get rid of at least 2 rocks.
Yes, I think so. This time the in turn. Blue catches the yellow. Nice shot. Shooter goes away.
Yeah, very nice.
Still a good situation for the Norwegians, though. They've still got shot stone, fighting the top of the button. We put up a good guard here. Still a good opportunity.
This is the situation. Yeah, this is the situation you're looking for. Any form of curling, tied without hammer. You got one top button, top 4 that you can keep guarding. Without any big misses, that's about the best you can hope for. And both teams are still in this one with 4 rocks to go.
Waiting for it to curl. It hasn't come over yet. Now it's starting to move. Still needs to get to the other side of the center line. There it goes. Pretty good.
Pretty good. With only 2 rocks left, I wonder if they'll play it the one on the top of the button, or if they're just gonna peel, or maybe try to once again run. The fact that we're coming down here to sweep makes me think we're playing something big weight.
And so my sources on the ground are telling me that the tiebreaker game has been set. No matter what happens here, it will be Cotter and Cotter versus McGillivray and Middleton. That tiebreaker game coming up later tonight, 9 Pacific, midnight Eastern time. And Ed, you'll be definitely on the call for that game?
Yes, I will. I'll be here for all the late night curling fans who NUM Insomniacs. While we were talking about that, though, this was a great shot. We've managed to clear out the 4-foot here with the run. Did leave a center guard, but with some pretty interesting angles, as we'll see as this comes in. Both rocks peel out off the center line.
What's really good for the German team is that yellow stone on the side of the, just fighting the side of the 4-foot is there. So if the Norwegians get a stone onto the button, they can use that to come in off of. So that actually leaving that yellow stone there was actually really astute.
Yes.
Not sure that was exactly planned or not, but how it worked out.
No, but you're very happy with it there, for sure. And the Norwegians, that was one of the first things they looked at, is where can we put our rock where it doesn't leave an easy double. So if you leave a very natural double here, that'll be the play all day.
So this is the final stone for Kristin Skaslien, and she will have to make a play behind the guard. Yep, pretty good. But as you said, a couple of ways to get in. Either the straight draw or the hit and roll into that yellow stone. Whatever you feel most comfortable with.
Yeah, and you have a bit of room to draw, so there definitely is a decision to make here. Move both those rocks back a foot, and you're definitely playing the in off. But I think they may have opted for the draw the way they were looking. But usually, when your partner comes down to sweep, we're talking about something with some weight because you can't get up and sweep it right away yourself.
Well, it's been a back and forth game so far. The Norwegians had a lead through 5 ends. A big score of 4 in the 6th for the Germans got them into the lead. The Norwegians tied it up with 2 of their own in the 7th, and now this is a draw to a piece of the button for the win. Get yourselves to 4-1 into the playoffs. I think even with the loss, they might have assured themselves of a spot in the playoffs because I think they're only having 1 tiebreaker. They're coming off the outside rock into the middle. Ooh. Another close one.
I think it's still yellow.
It might still be yellow.
Just needed to curl up another 1/4 inch.
And they're going to measure this one?
I think given the importance of the rock, yeah, I think they will. Now the thing we were saying was, Blue with Hammer here they'll be 3-2 if they lose this game and not in the tiebreaker. Is that what we're?
My understanding is if there's 2 spaces for 3 teams, I believe they're only having 1 tiebreaker game. So the best LSD score probably gets the 7th seed, and I'm making a guess that because we've determined who's in the tiebreaker game, according to my sources. We're not looking at the numbers, we're just getting information relayed over. That means the German team may have secured the best
Abbes and Harsch probably are the 7th seed, yeah. If they end up at 3-2. We'll see how the measure turns out.
But of course, if you want to know for sure, join us on that tiebreaker broadcast at 9 p.m. and Ed will tell you all about it.
Yeah.
Or of course, check the scores on curlingzone.com. Maybe they'll have the playoff brackets partially completed. They've had a look. Really not 100% sure still who it is.
I thought it was yellow.
I think the way that Emira is reacting, I think it is 1 yellow. But I think we'll wrap this game up. High 5 there for Magnus, Nedregotten, Kristin, Skaslien. So we're going to go with the assumption Norway steals 1 in that last end, stays at 5-0, but we will, of course, give you a full update at 9 p.m. Ed, what did you make of this game? Pretty tight game all around, back and forth. Just a couple of little mistakes.
Yeah, great game. We saw both teams do well with the power play, a couple big ends in the second half. But yeah, just a couple small mistakes, and sometimes it's all it takes, especially in mixed doubles.
All right, well, that brings us to the end of our round robin coverage. Of course, the tiebreaker game at 9 p.m. Pacific time, midnight Eastern time, and of course, join us for the playoff round tomorrow morning, starting at 9 Pacific, quarterfinals, semifinals, and finals. So on behalf of Curling Stadium, Ed, my co-host, my name is Jason Chang. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you back for the tiebreakers.
I don't remember a time when curling wasn't a part of my life. When I wasn't putting in the sweat and hard work to be the best that I can be. Clocking in the time, the effort to practice day in, day out. Curling is more than just a game. It's a family, a community. And when it's time to play, I know I'll be ready. Hardline, supporting hundreds of our next generation athletes.